let's not include those individuals in trying to manage or amend or change the program. In terms of how you would be treated beginning in 2021, if you were outside of that 55 bracket, the reason I say that this plan is like a member of Congress's plan, because it is. Well, a member of Congress gets a book, has a list of choices of government-sponsored health insurance that he or she can choose. Medicare, when you're 65, you're going to get a book that has government-sponsored health options that you can personalize for yourself, and a minimum of $15,000 will be paid toward that premium. You can decide how you would like to prioritize your medical requirements and medical needs. It's an idea. It's a solution. And what I feel is that America wants to see us talking about solutions. So this is a plan that's on the table. It's a plan that will be continued to have debate, and it should. And I want to continue to hear from people on what your particular thoughts are on this, or again, anything else. But we still haven't seen anything yet, and I hope we do, from the Senate or from the President. But in the economic conditions we're in, we've got to make some changes in this country. We've got to make sure that we offer a better country to our kids and our grandkids. And that means enough is enough with the Washington spending. Let's be responsible by being honest to the country about the challenges we're in. And let's do everything we can to reduce our $1.6 trillion deficit and our $14 trillion debt. So this is a step, I think, in a direction to say we've got ideas. If the country would like us to alter it, change it, tinker with it for a bit, I would invite any member of Congress to work with us to make that happen. But I'm going to be in Congress to try to solve problems and to work on your behalf and your benefit.
Dr. Miles and June Walsh of North Conway. Would you raise your hand?
I was just wondering, with the budget the way it is and the spending the way it is, and I keep hearing from people that we'd be a lot better off if we kept out of the war and we have all that money there. How do you feel about that, of getting out of Afghanistan?
Well, I think that and this is still, I think, a very emotional issue for the country. The reminder of the capture and kill of bin Laden, I think when we all heard about it, thought about 9/11, thought about thousands of Americans that were needlessly killed. And it consistently puts a reminder about the world that we live in. We've been in this fight for quite a long time. I think that the war on terror is going to continue. I think there's always going to be evolving threats. But relative to Iraq and Afghanistan, I think we have a responsibility and an obligation to complete the mission quickly. Ensure that the military in those countries can handle their own responsibilities and bring our troops back home. I think it's the right thing to do. I think from a financial perspective, it's the right thing to do. And I'd also add that I don't think that we should be right now engaging in Libya. I think that was a mistake. I'd like to see our troops home. I'd like to see us use different alternative tactics in the war on terror, which I think you're going to see given the changes that are occurring with who's going to be heading up the CIA and who's going to be heading up the Department of Defense. And I think you'll see a very different type of approach. But my hope and my suspicion is that we will certainly bring our troops home in fairly short order. And I think that it's not going to happen.
Next question is from a Frank Pingree from Glen. And this is regards to the Social Security.
Thank you. Much appreciated. The Pew Institute has just issued a report which claims that 60% of the deficit is due to spending, which includes not paying for the ongoing wars except for borrowed money, and 40% of the deficit is caused by the tax cuts. My question is, why is the emphasis on dealing with social programs and total resistance to tax increases, which represent 40% of the deficit?
I'm just going to repeat what you said so I make sure I have it right. According to a Pew Institute, the Pew Institute, they say 60% of the deficit is for, when you said not paying for the war?
Spending, which includes the wars which were not budgeted for.
Okay, I'm sorry. So wars that were not budgeted for.
Not budgeted for or paid for except with borrowing.
Okay. So 60% of the deficit is based on wars not planned for or paid for by borrowed money. And then 40% is because of tax cuts. Well, on its premise, I would argue that they're excluding every other service.
Sorry, it's not 60% due to the war. It's 60% due to increased spending, which includes paying for the war with borrowed money. 40% of the deficit is due to tax.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're spending about $700 to $750 billion on the Department of Defense. We have $2.2 trillion in revenues. So I'm not sure what data points they're using, but it sounds like, without seeing the study, they're excluding all non-discretionary spending. They're excluding.
Let me just say one more time to make it clear. The deficit in hope is represented by 60%. 60% of the deficit is represented by spending in general, which includes financial effects. 40% of the deficit is represented by tax cuts.
I'd be happy to take a look at the study, but I can tell you we have $1.6 trillion deficit right now with a $14.2 trillion debt. Our revenues are $2.2 trillion. We're spending $3.7 trillion. That has been going on for years. We're only spending $750 billion a year. Of that, of the 3.7 that we're spending, 750 billion will be is on defense. So, I mean, again, without seeing the study, I have to. I don't believe that. I actually don't think the numbers make sense just based on what you're communicating.
My question, I think, should be, why are you addressing social programs and not tax programs?
Well, I think Congress is looking at every component of spending. 40% of the budget is entitlements. And with 10,000 baby boomers a day coming on the rolls, this country is not planned for that outlet. It's about a $40 trillion unfunded liability. So it has to be dealt with.
Yeah, but I
And
think
both the CBO as well as the President's Budget Office
Representative,
would actually make that statement, make that claim.
can I
So
just add something to follow up, please?
There is agreement between the President's Office of Management and Budget and the CBO on that 40% number, and that it is a significant driver of the dollars we're going to be spending in the future. Now, that doesn't suggest that you don't look at other areas of the budget. In the budget proposal, we reduce spending in defense.
Why don't we just raise some taxes since that question?
You guys spend it. You guys spend it.
The question is this: why don't we raise taxes in order to? Well, the gentleman's question, the comment was, why don't we raise taxes to deal with some of the deficit or some of the debt? My position on raising taxes is this: I don't think. Well, let me get a raise. How many people in this room thinks they're not taxed enough?
Let's see your position. Yeah.
Yes, we have a lot of questions to get through. We really want to get through everyone's questions.
The reflection here of whether we should pay more in taxes or not is roughly representative of what the country feels about raising taxes. I don't believe economically that it's good public policy to be raising taxes given given the unemployment we have, given the fact that we've got to ensure job creators have incentives to move the economy forward. And I think that spending $3.7 trillion is too much. I think that our government can live on less. And I think we have a responsibility as members of Congress to make sure that every dollar that is spent in Washington is spent as effectively and as efficiently as we possibly can. And when there is $40 billion in Medicare alone of waste, fraud, and abuse, Washington is not doing a good enough job of being effective and efficient. So, what I'd like to try to take a stab at is being more effective and efficient with the services that are provided at the federal level. Say no to increased taxes. Try to live within our means. Get through the economic crisis that we're in. And send a message to the innovators and the job creators and the movers of our economy in New Hampshire, which is 75% small business, that we're not going to place a greater burden on you financially. That we are going to encourage you by others to grow your businesses, to grow the economy, so we can have better opportunities for individuals when it comes to trying to find a job or for our kids or for our grandkids.
Next question is from a Cindy Lefebvre. Oh, excuse me. And it's from Intervale with regard to HR 800. My best.
I really don't have a question. I just want to say thank you for co-sponsoring HR 800 on the E-Verify.
What's HR 800? What is HR 800?
What is E-Verify? It's E-Verify. Where employers have to verify whether employees are legal residents.
Next question is from Daniel Curry with regard to